the first time, Australia has recognised the legal existence of...
As Prime Minister of Australia, I am sorry.
My name is Benson Saulo. I'm connected to the Wemba Wemba, Jadawajali and Gunditj Mara nations of Western Victoria, as well as New Ireland Province in Papua New Guinea. I've been appointed Australia's next consul-general to the US to be based in Houston. It's a wonderful honour to be able to represent Australia. I remember the phone call like it was yesterday. It was a wash of excitement, but then almost the immediate understanding of a sense of expectation or sense of responsibility. Being the first Indigenous Australian to hold this position anywhere in the world. I grew up in Tamworth in New South Wales, which is on the lands of the Gomeroi people. I realised I wanted to be a leader from a very young age. Growing up in the church, seeing my father as a minister, delivering really powerful sermons, it can't not leave a mark on you. And it was actually around 2011 where actually my life changed. I was appointed the Australian Youth Representative to the United Nations. I travelled right across Australia, going to remote communities right through to major cities. And it really opened my eyes to the really broad diversity of the experiences of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. And it's quite easy, particularly living here in Melbourne or in major cities, to have kind of blinders up in regards to what are the experiences of our communities in remote areas. And that all culminated in living in New York during the General Assembly and leading two negotiations on behalf of Australia, one which had the focus around the global financial crisis impact on young people. In my 20s, I had a bit of a crisis of confidence. All my life, from a very young age, I'd been kind of tapped on the shoulder and told, oh, this guy, he's going to go places, he's a young leader, keep an eye on this fellow. And there's parts of you that you believe it because you're being told it, and there's other parts of you going, well, who am I to be that person? So on my 22nd birthday, I remember coming home, putting the key into the lock, turning the door and stepping into my hallway and visibly seeing the walls melting around me. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was actually having a panic attack. Went straight into my room, and I didn't want to speak to anyone except my dad. And my dad, he's very kind of direct in a lot of times, and he kind of just goes, oh, son, you're being silly. And I went, what? Like when I'm in this kind of state, like, why would you tell me that I'm just being silly? And he said, no, you don't always have to think about who you want to be. You don't always have to think about the person that you're going to be or grow into. We identified people that I value in my life, and we talked about why I value them, to be able to then think about, well, what kind of character do I want to have? And what started from a very dark situation actually became a lesson that still today is actually something that I hold dear.
The time has come when Australia can no longer tolerate legal racial discrimination against its Indigenous people.
There should be no legislation set up to discriminate us.
An important message for leaders is that change is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. Change actually takes time, it's incremental. Look, if I think about the success of the 1967 referendum, where over 90% of Australians voted in favour of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders to become citizens, to be recognised, this is a culmination of a 10-year-long campaign led by young people, but with the vision and the understanding that change takes time. I think as a nation, we've actually come a long way. I just have to reflect back on my mum's journey. Growing up in a tin shed with dirt floors, in a paddock on the outskirts of a very small regional town, through to having her son represent Australian youth at the United Nations General Assembly. My message for young people that are watching this is actually the message that my father gave me, is never think the world is not yours. Never think that because of your skin colour, because of your culture, because of your upbringing, that you're not valuable and you're not valid as an individual. When I think about my hopes for the next generation, it's actually very close to home. I have an 8-month-old daughter, and so my hope for the next generation, of creating a more inclusive and a more supportive world in which they will inherit actually starts today.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.